In the interest of time and trying to be considerate of everyone else's crazy schedule, I will call the meeting to order, and those that follow behind will do so in good order. Here's Melinda right here. After Melinda appears, we'll start with the pledge. Hello, Melinda. You're muted.
Hi, Jay. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there.
That's all we can do. So if I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I tried to get a little air movement in there. With the indulgence of the board, I would like to take the agenda items out of order. If that's, I don't know whether I need to make a motion to do that, but would anyone have a problem with us taking the agenda items out of order?
Nope.
It's shaking. We are joined this evening by Town Councilor Ed Dombrowski, as you can see. As you recall, Dan Benjamin has raised a few times the prospect of lining Main Street with flags, flag poles, or from the light stands, et cetera, et cetera. As luck would have it, a few weeks ago, Mr. Dombrowski raised an item at the town council meeting regarding having banners, flags, etc., on the flag poles and light standards in town in recognition of the veterans in town. I had a Zoom meeting with Mr. Mayo and Mr. Dombrowski a few weeks ago where we discussed the issue or the prospect at a very high level. And with that, I would like to yield the floor to Mr. Dombrowski to bring us up to speed on his thoughts on the matter.
Right. Well, Jay, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for allowing me to speak for a few minutes. As Jay had mentioned, for a long while, I had seen in some other communities, including those out of state, different ways in which small communities were able to recognize their veterans in a meaningful way and in a very public, pronounced way. And I think it serves to not only honor those that have served, but also serve as a reminder to the whole community that we have veterans and many military men and women amongst us. And it also serves as a good education and reminder to everyone about the role that our neighbors play in defending our freedoms. So with that, I had brought before the town council the idea of honoring our veterans on our lamppost in much the same way that we have done, promoting shopping downtown, or more recently honoring the class of 2020 seniors. And I thought this was a good opportunity for us to be able to highlight those veterans, both those that have passed and also those that are living within our community, on banners that would include a photograph of the veteran in uniform, and then also his or her name, and then what branch of military service they had been a part of or are a part of. And so with that, I presented the idea before the town council, and I received confirmation from Mr. Mayo, our town administrator, that we do have ways in which to be able to make this work from a financial standpoint. And so then it really just becomes a question of logistics and how we go about doing it. And in speaking with Jay, in our last Zoom meeting, we determined that let's say the wall of fame that we have at the Galvin is a great starting point. I think we have, Jay, you by your count, about 110, I believe, veterans that are recognized on that wall. In total, it looks like we could probably accommodate 2 veterans per banner on each side, and the banners, there would be a banner on either side. So in total, think about one pole, one light pole or other pole, being able to accommodate 4 veterans, and about 50 poles total. So we're looking at about 200 veterans at first pass that we believe we could easily accommodate. And then from there, if we have the ability to expand it even more, we can do that. If not, we can always alternate out banners and the like. But the goal is to have these, certainly have a rather patriotic theme, red, white, and blue colors, certainly, but also specifically honoring anyone who either had lived in Wakefield at the time of their service, currently lives in Wakefield, or has since passed but has a connection to Wakefield. And the really exciting thing about this is, again, from a funding perspective, it looks like we'll be able to secure with some corporate support the funding necessary to be able to have these banners put together and rolled out. I think it's a really nice campaign that we're able to do to really kind of promote and spread the word. I would say that as far as what is needed, what the next steps are, we have our base of 110 veterans that we can start with, but we have at least 90 other slots thereabouts of other veterans that may not be recognized in the Galvin, but are within our community. I'd love to be able to see some community outreach with the help of this board to be able to identify other veterans that have lived in town or currently live in town, either with us that currently alive or having since passed, that we can recognize as a part of this initiative. And it's very straightforward. Again, we would just need a photograph of them in their uniform. If it's an aged or weathered photograph, there are a number of ways, I'm speaking with Jay too, that we can bring those back to greater vibrancy. And it would involve that, their name, and their branch. And I think it would be a tremendous outpouring of support in our community to be able to drive down Main Street and see it lined with nothing but these red, white, and blue banners and all of these veterans that we have, and being able to I would say our goal would be to have them up for Memorial Day, and certainly have them up for extended periods, blocks of time, certainly Veterans Day itself. And I understand the distinction certainly between Memorial Day and Veterans Day. So we'd want to make sure that we're mindful of that. But it's really just a matter of, at this point, of making sure we get the word out. I'm working on materials now along with Town Administrator Mayo. So I hope to have a very basic form that folks can fill out to make submissions. The goal is to make this as easy as possible. Certainly, we will need a scanned photograph of anyone that we'd want to make sure is able to take part. And so, oftentimes, I know our older generation may not be as tuned into doing that, of scanning a photograph, but we can certainly make that happen either through family, friends, or even through the town. We have resources that can help those folks out. So that was kind of where my thinking was at with this initiative. But I wanted to obviously bring it before Jay as well and have that deep dive conversation with him and Mr. Mayo. And certainly, we all agreed it was important to make sure we brought it before this body as well. So I'm open to any of your feedback or thoughts or questions that you may have. Again, I'm trying to keep this as straightforward as possible for folks so that we can have the highest level of participation without making it too complicated. But I think it's a really unique, solid way of doing it, of really recognizing our veterans. And the other communities that I've seen do it have done a really nice job. I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel with this. I'm just looking to pick up their best practices. I've already reached out to one community in upstate New York who has done a nice job with it, and spoken with them about what they found worked well, things that they might change going forward, and just some guidelines to establish. So I'm really excited about this project, and I'm open to any questions or any thoughts anyone here may have.
Thank you as always. You've always been very supportive of the veteran community. Questions, concern? Dan, I think you had your hand raised.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when I had brought up the idea of flags on the poles, I know we had to run it by Mr. Dion down the light department because I guess they own the poles. So I don't know if anybody has contacted the light department. And by the way, I'm all for it, believe me. And the other thing was the time period that they'd be up. And it was suggested at that time that it would be during the warm weather period. And I had suggested, I think Armed Forces Day comes before Memorial Day up until Veterans Day. And when they're taking them down Veterans Day, they can at the same time be putting up the Christmas decorations. So you get two for the price of one there.
Certainly. Dana, on the first question, I know Peter Dion has been very accommodating in the past whenever we've had a request. So I don't believe either Steve Mayo or I have any concerns with that. It's just a matter of making sure that we can reach out to them for logistics, but that shouldn't be an issue. And as far as the time frame, I think you hit it spot on. It's a really appropriate window of time, and it's really going to be the time too when people are more likely to be walking downtown. Because part of it is with these banners, you know, when you drive by it, it has an impact, but it's when you're walking downtown on the sidewalks, the goal is to see the name, you know, see the branch, see the face, and that's something that, you know, we're hoping to be able to have, you know, during the nicer weather months.
Yeah, certainly, you know, the more you think about it, the details just start flowing about, you know, the whens, the wheres. You know, downtown, the light poles are different than they are in Greenwood. And theoretically, would like to have, you know, both Greenwood and the square part of this. You know, certainly, you know, a lot of possibilities, and, you know, hopefully we can come away from tonight.
We lost you, Jay.
You went on mute, Jay.
That's too bad. That was some pretty profound stuff I was saying.
Automatic mute.
I'll just leave that to, you know, say we need, you know, certainly lots of details to work out as we move forward. Jackie, did you have something?
Yes, I have two questions for Ed. Great idea. I love this, Ed. My first is, what was the criteria again? And then the second question is, what are you planning to do for the seniors graduating for this year? Because my grandson is one of them. Are they all, we're going to do the same thing as last year? And how will that affect the veterans, this initiative?
Right. The first, it was, the thinking was that anyone who had a connection to Wakefield, meaning that they had lived in the town at some point, that was really what the criteria was. And then, I mean, if we found that we had an overwhelming number of people, more people, then we may need to think about kind of tightening that up a little bit. But in speaking with Jay, we didn't get the sense that we would have a concern with a rush of too many people if we had that more general criteria. As far as the seniors, that's something that I know Steve Mayo was following up in the school department on. I don't know that they know yet what their plans are going to be for graduation. So it is something that we need to be mindful of. At this point, the sense that I have is that they're going to try, I presume they're going to try to do something more interactive, I guess, than I would say than last year is my assumption. But certainly we need to be mindful of that too. So that's, we're still exploring.
I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you.
No, it's important.
I have a question.
Jackie. Dave, did you have something? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the, it's a great idea. I think this is fabulous. But we have the differentiation from Veterans Day and Memorial Day. I don't know, I just thought it'd be a good idea because we probably still have family in town who have great grandparents or grandparents that were in World War I, World War II, some in Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, so many conflicts, even the Civil War, we have a statue relative to that. But why not consider a concept where for Veterans Day, we have on the poles, every other one would be a different war in honor of those veterans. Like for an example, for the World War I veterans recognized, okay, on that banner. World War II recognized. Well, we can figure out the vernacular later, but each one of the wartime configurations because they are veterans of those conflicts.
And
their
I
families have all been
certainly,
affected by them.
yeah, certainly understand that. And I don't think we should get bogged down in those details tonight,
Okay,
but we'll never get through this meeting.
okay.
Because as the more we talk, the more detail that we can unearth, and that's exactly what we need to do. But unless I miss my bet, I think tonight, get some high-level discussion and come to a consensus, take a vote, whether, we're aligned with this, we want to support it, and down the line, create a sub-team to work on the project, et cetera, et cetera. So, I guess one of the things that came up in the meeting when I was meeting with the town administrator and Mr. Dombrowski was that, oftentimes no good deed goes unpunished. We've had a number of, concerns raised over the years of who's on monuments, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Speaking only from my experience in Saugus, they have regular confrontations about who's on veterans walls, things like that. I think if we try to be as all-encompassing as we can, with Wakefield roots, et cetera, I think someone brought up, somebody's great-grandfather was in World War I. Wouldn't it be cool if their picture was up, et cetera, et cetera? We can work on those details, and that is something we should certainly do as we move forward. Selection criteria, et cetera, et cetera. So we could certainly do that, but maybe just for tonight, we keep it at a high level. Is this something that we want to support? I personally, I don't see any reason why not. And then we can hammer out the details as we move forward. Any other further input? Questions, concerns, comments? If seeing none, seeing a lot of head bobbing, I'll make a motion that, I find myself yelling again, that the Wakefield Veterans Advisory Board support the flags along veterans banners along Main Street, and agree to move forward supporting Mr. Dombrowski and others in this effort. Do I have a second?
I
Second
second.
motion.
John, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you all.
Before we
Thank
get
you.
too far downrange, I do want to announce that another guest has joined us, Mr. Thomas J. Lyons of Wakefield. I found out this past weekend, looking through my documents, that Mr. Lyons was one of the original members of the Wakefield Veterans Advisory Board back in 2012. I'm not sure how I came upon that document, but Tom is also the founder of the Semper Fidelis Society in Boston, infamous, notorious, world-renowned organization. He's also the chairman of the upcoming Congressional Medal of Honor Society convention in Boston. And he's also, I'm going to mess up the title, but the chairman of the board for the Chelsea Soldiers Home. So, Tom, welcome to this evening's meeting.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you for reminding me how long ago I was on the Wakefield Advisory Board, and thanks to all of you that serve on the board now. Just to follow up quick on what Jay had mentioned about the Medal of Honor Convention, Boston 2021. In 2015, the Medal of Honor Convention was in Boston, and we had the opportunity to bring Medal of Honor recipients out to a number of schools. And fortunately, the Army National Guard had assigned 10 Black Hawk helicopters to us, and we were able to utilize their helicopters, and we were able to bring 2 Medal of Honor recipients and the Black Hawk to Wakefield High School, which was a great event. Colonel Barnum, Marine Medal of Honor recipient, said it was one of the best school visits he's had as a Medal of Honor recipients, and the kids were so attentive, and it was well received. So we're looking at hopefully being able to do something again in September with the Medal of Honor recipients as well. So thank you, Jay.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to see you. With that, I'd like to go back to the original agenda, if you would like.
Jay, I'm sorry, I was going to sign off, if that's all right.
Yes, sir.
I wanted
Yeah.
to thank everyone for your support, and I'll certainly be back in touch with more details as they continue to develop. But thank you.
Yes, sir. I'll follow up with you soon. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, sir.
Let me see what, Paul, you can lend, it says. I'm not sure what that is. You can listen? Is that what you're saying, Paul? Okay, thank you. Just put something in the chat if you'd like. I can see that now. Under separate cover, we forwarded the minutes for the January 2021 Veterans Advisory Board. Does anyone have any questions, concerns, comments about those minutes? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written. Do I have a second? Sean again with the quick second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. VSO report, VSO David.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, the VSO report for February 16th, 21. The food bank for Wakefield is Wednesday. It's tomorrow, the 17th. The Wakefield Food Pantry has donated, once again, dry goods to go along with the Boston Food Bank donations. We currently have 19 recipients in the program who come by on that third Wednesday of the month behind the senior center to pick up their food and their dry goods. As for Chapter 115, we have currently 13 recipients. We're down one. And the recertifications for this program are processing, and we are finished getting the information in. We're waiting for acceptance from the authorizers in Boston. Christy Yentl and I went out last Saturday and distributed the door decals to the first 35 participants of the Veteran Discount Program in town. You'll see the decal on the door as you enter the establishment. Each establishment has decided on their own how much they will give for a discount. They range from 5% to 50%, which is a great deal. I have still yet to put out 3 or 4 more decals, but I'll do it this weekend, weather permitting. When the weather gets better, because it's been tough, as you all know, we're going to get back out and hit the streets again. And we hope to get another 25 to 30 more businesses involved with the program. We have a 100-year-old World War II veteran in town, Joseph R., who survived COVID after only spending a few days in the hospital on a ventilator. He's 100% disabled from a bomb blast in Guadalcanal in 1942. What I'd like to do is interview him for one of the Veterans Corner segments in the future. People like this that we have in the community, I feel should be recognized with, of course, their approval. And going forward with that, we have so many stories yet to be told. Also, the legal aid in Boston, they sent out some memos saying that we should know that the legal aid is available for veterans facing evictions, benefit issues, family matters, debt, etc. And the veterans can request assistance via the website, which I have if anyone needs it, or by calling the phone number that I have available also in Boston. For those veterans seeking out enrollment in the VA healthcare system for vaccinations at the various centers around Boston, VA facilities, and VFW satellite locations, they can reach out to the outreach coordinator in Boston, David Henke. I have his email and his phone number if anyone's looking for that. For the Wakefield community, they can call my office, of course, and arrange for a one-on-one meeting to fill out the forms, the 1010 applying for health benefits and getting the information up to the VA so they can go and get their shots right away. Now it's at 50 years old or over through the VA. And also with the stress and strain on veterans' mental health from the isolation as a result of COVID, the coordinator for the Greater Boston has provided us with an outreach program. For any mental health information at VA Boston, there's a gentleman, Kyle Toto. I have his email address as well as a phone number for him. He'll get help to point you in the right direction. Also, there are COVID-19 vaccine clinics for veterans this Saturday. And I believe that is in, let me see here, hold on a second. Lynn, thank you, Jay. Yes, it's in Lynn, February 20th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Breeden Middle School. I have the address at 90 O'Callahan Way in Lynn. And for appointments, they need to call 781-687-4000. And that's what I have for my report for this month, Jay.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, concerns, comments for Dave?
I have a question.
Okay.
Dave, what did you say was the age requirement for the VA COVID?
For
50.
the VA is 50 years or above now. Now it's down
Oh,
to 50
'cause-
years old.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That
that's
doesn't
the note I
apply
got.
to you, Marion. Jackie,
What?
that doesn't apply to you. You're not there yet.
I'm
No, veterans.
65 on Friday.
Veterans is 50 years old, if they have to be in the health program.
So and I have a flyer I can send to folks if you'd like. If you're not enrolled in VA healthcare, you need to do so.
Yeah.
I was told today, I was speaking with the Lynn VSO. He says that they may be able to do some in-person enrollments in VA healthcare. So it's 50 plus, and it's at that middle school, I guess at a VFW in Dorchester. They were lined up at 7:30 in the morning, started early. And if you believe what I saw on a newscast, they actually vaccinated the wife of one Navy vet that was there. Because at the end of the day, they're looking to put shots in arms.
Good.
So if you're interested, just reach out to me. I'll send you the information on where it is on Saturday. But like Dave said, there's a 687-4000 number you can call and set up an appointment. Dan?
Yeah, I had called up the VA today and I was trying to get a shot, but I feel guilty because my wife can't get one and I don't want to have my shot when she can't. And I did hear on the news about somebody giving shots to wives, but I guess they had to wait.
I certainly understand that, but let me counter that. Just the fact that you've started your vaccination, in my opinion, raises the overall safety level of the entire house. So just keep that in mind. Paul?
So just last Friday when the VA, or actually 2 weeks ago on Friday when the VA opened it up to 50 and above, I went over to Bedford. I was able to make an appointment that day, and went to Bedford. They're probably doing about 400 a day over at Bedford, and a very smooth process. And I will tell you, when I called the number, I got a person on the phone immediately. And because we had snow on Sunday, they wanted to get everybody in before the storm, I got a person that called the house and said, "Could you come in a little bit early?" I was extremely impressed. It was painless. It took me about 20 minutes. And Dan, you're right. My wife was not able to participate. She's a school teacher. But I agree with what Jay is saying in terms of precautions. And I would suggest if we could publish a piece of that brochure that you have, Jay, in the daily item.
Yeah, I'll see if I can put something together. One of the challenges is the brochure, the thing that I have directs people to contact the Lynn and the Swampscott VSO, and that's not the way to go for a larger population. But I'll see if I can put something together. And again, the item has been great. Dan, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what to do, but this drive runs till 4 o'clock on Saturday. And, you know, if my wife wasn't going to be out of town, I was going to talk her into going over there. And you never know, hang around, you know, you've got your card, you've got a compelling story to tell. Never say never. They're looking to put shots in arms.
Well, my wife is legally blind, so I'm the only one that can drive her to these places too, so.
Yep.
Problem, but I do feel guilty being able to have that vaccine and she can't.
I wholeheartedly understand that. No doubt about it. It's, but one of the, I think there's enough people commenting on the efficiency and the structure of the immunization. But one thing that came up in a meeting that I had today is that Bedford is absolutely raising the bar as far as how this is being done, making other facilities pale in comparison. So if you're over 50, you see a couple that might be, and you're enrolled in VA healthcare, or if you're not, just consider it. Okay. I think we accepted Dave's report, correct? Okay. I just want to touch briefly on Wreaths Across America. I did reach out to Mr. Fazio. He is on board with this, with the Veterans Advisory Board, continuing as the local coordinator for Wreaths Across America 2021. I've started filling out some forms online for the process, but I think it's probably appropriate that we, maybe have a little discussion if you want to, and or make a motion to agree that the board will continue to be the local coordinator for Wreaths Across America 2021. Any discussion on the matter? Hearing none, I'll make a motion that for Wreaths Across America 2021, the Veterans Advisory Board of Wakefield will serve as the local coordinator. Have a second?
Second.
Dave, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you. David, we're back to the Veterans Discount Program again, if you want to touch on it any further.
Just that everyone from Brothers Breakfast Restaurant to Anthony's Coal Fired Pizza to Anton's dry cleaning to the Hart's Hardware Store in town. It's amazing, and everyone's been receiving it well. I think I've only had one or two questionable locations, but if you have a pet, if you know people have veterans who have may have a dog or an animal, or dogs in this case, the dog grooming places are taking care of the veterans there, and they will give a discount as well. Service dogs.
I really have to applaud you and Christy. You took this, hit the ground running. The decal is awesome. I understand. I assume that Eric Jeter created that for us.
He did, yes.
It's awesome. I think we need to, kind of think of next steps. I don't know. I think you saw it also on social media or somewhere else. Someone was asking for a list of participating entities. And there's absolutely, I don't think there's anything that says we can only put Veterans Corner in once a month. You know what I mean? If we wanted to come up with another Veterans Corner focused entirely on the discount program or whatever we want to call it, we should probably come up with a continuing name for it. We could do that. We could list the businesses. We could also put it up on social media, because they've agreed to sign up for it. It would probably be nice to start driving some traffic their way.
That's the idea behind it, Jay. I was hoping that during this COVID, that it might help the businesses get more customer interaction with coming in saying, hey, I'm not a veteran, but I'm going to shop here anyhow, not needing the discount, but because my uncle was a veteran or a cousin was a veteran, and you're honoring veterans, I'll shop here. That sort of approach.
Yeah.
And it was an easy sell, basically, when we approached the clients. And I walked in the door, they always think you're there to get a donation. And I said, no, we're not here for a donation. We're here to help you. And here's the story. And why am I talking so loud? I know what you're talking about, Jay. For some reason with this camera thing, I want to talk loud. But
well, the thing is, you and Christy were probably going into some of these businesses right after the Scholarship Foundation hit them for donations for their phone-a-thon. And it's brothers, it's arts, it's farmland, it's all the well-known characters that get hit routinely. So I think your point is very good that, let's drive some business their way.
Right.
Instead of it being one direction, let's get, see if we can increase their business. So.
Well, the businesses are proud to put the decal on their door too. They put it right at eye level. They wanted it eye level so they could see it as they came in.
Yeah,
And Gold Star, and also Gold Star spouses, mothers, fathers, they are also entitled to that discount, as I told the retailer that on the initial conversation on the campaign.
Awesome. Rob, do you have something?
Yeah, one question on this. Before we put a list in the paper, has everybody been given an opportunity to participate? Meaning, if they've already had a chance to say no and they're not on the list, then that's on them. But did we hit the folks in more? I think about somebody off the beaten path like Fahey Tire as a good corporate citizen. Have they been asked? Because they might feel bad if they weren't asked and they're not on the list that goes to the paper first.
That's why the list isn't finished yet, and okay. I'm hoping within the next 3 weeks, and if we haven't hit that establishment, I think in the corner when we do the announcement of these businesses that are offering the discount, if you're not on the list, please contact me at the office with my phone number.
Yep.
And be the contact person for it. We'll be sure to get you included and send the decal to your establishment.
Yeah, we should absolutely. We should probably set a target date for putting that list in the paper. Okay. So we don't. We're looking March in the face. And then just check it off. Have people drive people to you if they want to be added to the list, and just kind of go from there. I think that's awesome. Thank you very much.
We could have the date set at March 20th, Jay. This is Saturday, first day of spring. We could spring it on them. Is that too late, you think? Or
it's not paper on Saturday.
The item doesn't publish on Saturday.
Well, okay, the 19th.
Whatever. I mean, there's no magic. I kind of defer to you as to when you.
Okay. I'll talk with Christy too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, be good. Thank you.
Yeah, just let us know. Hey, we got a new visitor. Well, thanks again. You guys have done a great job so far. Thanks again. With that, I'll segue to the Veterans Corner. Shared the article. Thank you to those who offered some edits. I thought they were spot on. Again, this was intended to just, open up what we plan to do. For the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to put the banner from PDF to a Word document. And I know Melinda could have helped me in probably 13 seconds, but I didn't want to bother her either. And I got the colossal eye roll from my daughter, so I didn't ask her more than once either. So this will be the first one. Again, it was intended to be pretty high level, just sort of, hey, this is what's going on in Wakefield, and certainly drive business to Dave. And then as we move forward, drill down into some of those benefits that are available, so that maybe, we don't have to, demystify some of these things for folks, and maybe it'll keep some people from, missing out on benefits or waiting too long. I know in the 3 years now that I've been on the job, it's been predominantly seniors and, all pursuing things that they should have done 10, 20, 30, 40 years ago. Because either they didn't think they rated it, or the most popular reason was they didn't want to take anything from anybody. And I think one of the things that needs to be abundantly clear to the veterans and the people that are reading these articles is that you're not taking anything from anybody. You earned this and more. And the VA is a numbers-driven business. Unless you can drive customers to the C Block and Lynn or Bedford or wherever have you, they can find a way to do without them. And, we're in the business of helping veterans and, serving as their advocates. So I think that, and as we've said, this isn't just, me creating articles. It's open to any and all. If you have a subject that you feel strongly about, I know that Paul's already raised something that we consider moving forward. Marion's already raised something going forward. We have the roll to DC that's going on in 2022 for Vietnam veterans down to Washington, DC. We have the Medal of Honor Convention coming up. There is going to be no lack of content for this column. So feel free to pick something. I'll continue to try to put things together. And who knows, maybe we can come up with a list of subjects that we plan to pursue from March, April, May, June, July. We can do that. Okay.
I don't have the books this year, Jay, for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, the end of March. But I think I could put something together for the item to at least plug something in for that memorial. It's Vietnam Veterans Memorial Day, end of March.
Tommy, when's your thing in South Boston?
It's usually the Sunday after Labor Day in September.
Yeah, okay. I always forget about it, and then I see it in the news, and it's like, damn it, missed it again.
Yeah, this year's 40th anniversary.
Oh, God.
And it's going to coincide with the Medal of Honor Convention, at the end of the Medal of Honor Convention. So we've invited all of the Vietnam Medal of Honor recipients to join us. Also, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, is going to be with us as well. So,
yeah, and at the risk of embarrassing Tom even further, I think what you just heard speaks to the power of the things that Tom has been doing over the last 40 years. Created memorial in South Boston, where he's originally from, to his friends who were lost in Vietnam. First in the nation, Tom?
I never say first, but I like to say it was
Among the first.
It was one of it was one of the first that really recognized the service of all the men and women who served in Vietnam. Certainly on the front of the memorial has the names of the 25 men from South Boston who were killed. And on the back of the memorial, it has to all the men and women who served during the Vietnam War, not just in Vietnam, but during the Vietnam War. And it's two big words, welcome home. And I like to think we were probably one of the first to really recognize all the men and women who served, but also the first to use those two words, welcome home, that is so well used now.
No doubt. Ahead of the power curve as always. So, as I mentioned, I mean, there's just a ton of content that we can do. Okay, thank you. Keeping this crisp so we can get through the other agenda items. Memorial Day. I think I shared the word that in the Mr. Mayo's judgment at this point, and I think you can all appreciate that we're going to be virtual again this year. I certainly appreciate everything that was done last year. It's time to start thinking about it. We can certainly go, I'd like to go through it in greater depth in the March meeting. In the meantime, I'll reach out to Barbara Worley at WCAT to see what she's thinking. I think Paul and Dave put together some content for Veterans Day. There's nothing to say that, if we have some thoughts that are more of a Memorial Day focused. I'm sure that WCAT would be more than willing to host any and all of us to tape a little vignette that could be shown on Memorial Day. I'm sure that they will run Memorial Day ceremonies of the past in a loop, interspersing it with other content. So, if we can start, thinking about that and planning to look at that in earnest in March. I think we'll have March and April and another meeting in May before we get to Memorial Day. And don't let me forget to reach out to the American Legion like I did on Veterans Day. It was a very unpleasant conversation I had to have with the Legion members. So don't let me forget to reach out to them and include them if they want to be included. So again, we'll go into greater detail, but please keep an eye towards things that, I thought that what we did last year with the flags at both of the cemeteries was fine. The wreath laying was very well done. What else? So put your thinking caps together and we'll talk about that in greater detail in March.
The flag, purchasing of the flags, have we already ordered them, Jay?
That was my next question to you. What do we have upstairs? We don't need to hold the body, but you and I need to talk about what we have upstairs left, and then go from there. We need to get that done in the next couple of weeks. You're also going to need to reach out to the, what were they, Civil War, Revolutionary War, whatever those people were that showed up last year.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, with your permission, we'll add that to the agenda for next month and really dig into that.
Okay.
Dan, the Veterans Memorial Flagpole project, photos that you put together so far. Not sure what you've done, what else you've done. Hearing nothing, I'll assume nothing. I handed out that thing that, it's from the state, the grant that we got last year, virtually when it was too late to do anything about it. Based on my reading of it, and I had, it's over on the other, we need to have a project in order to be considered for this grant. You need to put a grant proposal together, and you also need to have matching funds. In rummaging through the paper that I have here for Veterans Advisory Board, which is where I found Tom's name from 2012, back a number of years ago, we went to two granite organizations and inquired about refurbishing the Civil War, the Soldiers and Sailors Monument downtown. Needless to say, the sticker shock was 6 figures and then some. So it's certainly nothing that is going to, happen in the short run. But I think the grants, Melinda, correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably looked at it with greater detail. We need to come up with a project that has 20,000 in it, and the state may match up to that amount. Do I remember that right?
I think that's correct. By
Yeah.
the way, was the sticker shock for refurbishing more than one statue? Was it like all of them?
No,
We could try
you
to
know,
piecemeal it.
you know the Soldiers and Sailors Monument, the huge one with guys missing hands and things like that?
Yeah.
It was that. And
Wow.
it was, you know, the six figures one was from a place in Vermont that involved dismantling the entire thing, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not sure that we're there. But, you know, it's, anything that we do in that regard would, you know, probably exceed the monies that would be able to put together. Now, Dan, don't let me forget about Veterans Field. But one of the things that we talked about in the past was having some sort of a monument, sign, whatever, on the common, denoting that it is in fact Veterans Memorial Common. And we actually went out a number of years ago and quoted a granite memorial. There's nothing to say we couldn't do what Dan has pursued with a couple of granite posts that suspend some sort of a sign that denotes Veterans Memorial Common. You know, one at the Church Street end, one at the Rockery end. You know, something like that may be the type of funds that this grant might be able to go for. But
Did you
again,
see
you know,
the page of the examples of the previous grants? The last page?
yeah,
They seem to like those oral history projects. But yeah, there's a lot of restoration, renovation, and display.
yeah. Yeah, and if we do end up at doing any renovation, we will have to make sure that we bring the Wakefield Historical Society into the loop, as they're you know, certainly up to speed on a lot of historical facts around town. And there was some offense taken when the certain plaques in town were being refurbished and they didn't know about it. There was just some miscommunication. So, you know, you just never know who the stakeholders are. So we'll try to think a little bit more globally.
That's the Historical Society and then the Historical Commission, two different
Yeah,
groups.
yeah.
Do we know of any projects that the town is planning to fund anyway that we could just piggyback on?
I do not, but I will, you know, I need to reach out to Mr. Mayo tomorrow and I will ask him. It was not raised during the meeting that I had with him.
Okay. If he says that there's something that they were thinking about funding anyway, and 20K of a project would go a long way, like I'm happy to help write it.
Yeah, okay. I was assuming such, but didn't want to assume too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
So certainly more to follow on that. And Dan, Mr. Mayo was very enthusiastic to hear about the work that you've done, the research, et cetera, on Vets Field.
I was wondering that because I haven't talked to him yet. I talked to Dennis and he corrected a few things and I do want to talk.
One of the things that he raised is that there's going to be some work done on the tennis courts and things like that. And was wondering if this could be done in conjunction with that. I don't necessarily think that that's the right place for what you're thinking about. I think yours is more like North Avenue, Church Street side of things where the existing flagpole is. But there's nothing to say that something couldn't be put down by the cinder path, you know, where the pickleball, I guess you're going to put a pickleball court in down there. You know, I love it.
Is it the town would have to come up with $20,000 and then it's matched?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I do have another project. There's always a project out there. that
Okay.
might be interested in. And maybe I shouldn't say what it is, but it's something that's missing on the common for many years.
Well,
That maybe
let's,
we could have a restoration.
I know it's, this meeting's getting a little long, and if we put it off to the March meeting, it's getting a little short. But there's nothing to say that you can't share that with the board, including the Veteran Advisory Board email address. You know what I mean? Because if we're kind of doing business, between meetings, we need to make sure that it goes to that address so that it has visibility at the town level. Okay? So to this point, getting back to your project, you have funding. You have some citizens that have said that they would be willing to donate up to X that would probably take care of the post and plaques, etc. I briefed both Mr. Mayo and Mr. Dombrowski about that during our meeting. They were both very receptive to it. As you can imagine, that will entail an appearance before the town council at some point. So we'll just have to put that on the honey-do list. That has to be part of the project. But the plan is to meet with them to get their blessing before we move forward. Okay. I think as a board, we've already voted to endorse the project. Am I correct in that? I believe we did.
Yes.
I'm seeing some questions. I'm seeing some shaking. Yes. So just for completeness sake, why don't I make another motion that the Veterans Advisory Board of Wakefield will endorse and support a project that will include at a minimum a monument of some sort that will note that the park at the corner of Main and North and Church is Veterans Field. Have a second?
Second.
John, once again, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you very much. Any other business? Everyone's, starting to fade. It's been a long day. If you come up with anything, afterwards, Rob, thank you for putting the meeting minutes together. I will forward the approved January meeting minutes to Sherry. They end up going on the website, after the town's website after we're done with them.
Dave, can you email me your report from tonight?
I will. Jay's got it. I can.
Okay. Yeah, or Jay, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll forward it to you, Rob.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then if you have any agenda items for the March meeting, please feel free to share them. Again, we'll go through Memorial Day in greater depth. I'm sure we'll have something more to talk about. We'll hopefully have another Veterans Corner article to review and approve. And we'll be talking about the Veterans Field Memorial, and who knows, maybe a grant proposal or some other work. Okay.
Jay, the Veterans Corner that you proposed, that you put together here, it's fabulous. I think it's great. We didn't discuss this tonight. I didn't hear it being discussed.
Oh, I sent it out and
Right.
said, it's your job, our job to review these things before the meeting and come to approve them, edit them, or move forward.
Okay.
We will be here for a month and a half if we have to read all of these things.
I know.
Okay?
Okay.
Hearing any other business? No other business, I'll entertain a motion to
Can I
adjourn.
ask one question?
Yes, sir.
This may be not appropriate for this, but I just want to say it anyway. We had one person in Wakefield who last week had a setback, and I consider him the biggest warrior in Wakefield. And I'm praying that he recovers. And I'd just like to say that with God's will, he will. And like I say, he's Wakefield's biggest warrior.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Hey, thank you, Dan. With that, I'll call the meeting to a close. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay well. And if you are interested in Lynn on Saturday for COVID shots, just send me a quick email and I'll send you back the flyer. I'll see if I can put something together for social media and or the item.
That one in Lynn is only for 50 and older as well, correct?
Yes, sir. You're not even close.
Not even.
Good. Good. We'll get there. You'll get to you. Thanks
It
a
will
bunch.
come, it will come sooner than you think.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I think if Bedford has their say, you know, the way they're moving,
That's
you know,
excellent.
I have to believe they'll be doing any and all veterans in short order. But now it seems like it's getting to a supply issue.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
I've had more adverse reaction to the flu shot, so it's all good.
Good.
Okay, thank you, folks. Stay safe.
all right.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye all. Good
Good night,
night.
folks.
Good night.
Good night.